On June the 23rd, British voters will decide whether the United Kingdom remains or leaves the European Union. It's a subject which has dominated the media, as representatives on both sides of the debate have been stating their case. We've heard many discussions about what will happen if the UK stays in or goes out. But how might the result affect those with a learning disability? To find out more, I visited the Grace Air building in Hove. Grace Air is a charity that supports people who have learning disabilities. So yeah, I guess if we just have a quick warm-up, so I'll just get you to introduce yourself once more for the film. What's your name, please?
My name's Jamie Larkham.
I'm Stuart.
I'm Gail.
Gail, okay.
Hi, I'm Shane. I'm a person that lives in Grace Air housing, and I like to help around Grace Air and take part in some of the campaigns that we do.
Have you ever travelled outside the United Kingdom?
Yeah.
You have, and where did you go to?
I went to Belgium, to Bruges.
Okay.
Bruges in Belgium. Salou in Spain, and southern Tenerife.
Okay, so you have been around to a few countries, including Belgium, which obviously is very important for the EU.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think that's because you've travelled to different countries in Europe? Do you think that's helped shape your views about the referendum and the European Union?
Well, it's helped my views a lot. Yeah.
Have you ever been to different countries in Europe? Have you ever been to?
I was born in France.
You're born in France. Okay, that's very interesting. That's very interesting.
I was born in when we all split up. All the family split up.
Mm.
So I don't know where my brothers and sisters are.
Were you sort of still a child when you moved to the UK, or were you older when you moved to the UK?
I was 9.
You were 9 when you moved to here?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, when somebody talks about Europe and mentions Europe, what does that mean to you? What does Europe make you think of?
Well, it makes us feel like we're supplying money to them, but we want to keep money to ourselves because we don't have a lot of money this side of the country, and it's like it seems to be us supplying them.
Okay, and what's your thoughts on that, Gail? Are you similar, or do you have a different opinion, or?
Well, I think Europe is a really nice place to live. Because I think Europe's a nice place to live where people can stay safe and keep away from danger and stop going into wars and, you know.
When people talk about Europe, what does that bring to mind for you?
I don't know. It's a hard one.
Just as an example, do you think Grace Air would be better if the UK stayed in the European Union, or do
If we come out of Europe, they're closest to it, wouldn't
you think that? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, would you be worried about Grace Air if the UK left the European Union?
they? Yeah.
And I mean, what are your thoughts about the referendum?
I think it's a load of gobbledygook, but you know, everyone's at their own, aren't they?
Do you think the outcome will affect you in any way, of whether people stay in or whether they go out? Or
I think it might affect me because if we become, for instance, the United Kingdom on its own as independence, the government might start picking on us because we're the ones with the needs and stuff like that and disabilities. So they might sort of start closing everything down and start disrespecting people with disabilities and needs and stuff like that.
So you think that might be the case if we went out?
Yeah, if we went out, the government can make up their own laws and rules and human rights acts, and they can rewrite everything basically.
Will you be voting in the in-out referendum?
Yes.
You will?
Yeah, because I wouldn't like to vote because I don't know what the government would be doing next with the money.
Vote
and
to
also
leave.
what's going to happen about the care care side of it.
Or do we stay in Europe and get meetings about all different countries and that?
So you think we should stay in?
Yeah, and have meetings about all different countries and that.
But my theory is I think we should vote and come out of that so we're individual country and not the other.
When we're talking about things like the cuts, which I know you guys have been involved in a lot with the demonstrations, do you feel being in Europe would improve that situation, or do you think being in Europe makes sort of cuts to money and services? I mean, do you think Europe's a good thing or a bad thing when it comes to the cuts, really?
I would think, well, since it's the cuts, because now cutting more things back, I think it's bad because it's more money going to them and not to us.
Because I think they're counting all the money that the people have. Because I think it's a bad thing. Because the council shouldn't have done that. Because I think they're breaking the law.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got no police on our streets now.
No.
They've cut them back.
Yeah, there's no police around.
If we come out of that altogether, I think we ought to see some changes and some proof. And then that way, they can't argue. We've got all our money back. And we can do with the money funding more services we might be needing, such as like the National Health Service. We might be needing that. That's another kind of thing services we need for money with.
Okay.
And actually, we need money to go to hospital if you're not well, so like hospitals, and we need some money for if there was a fire, we need the firemen.
These are sort of services we need.
Yeah.
Even more day services we need.
It's basically to be sort of heard and, like, you know, see if the government actually isn't to their own country. And
Welfare of care centres and day centres is better in the European Union or out?
Out. I would recommend to other people to vote out.
I mean, would you be voting in the European referendum?
No,
You won't be voting.
no.
And
I vote for myself.
so why won't you? Just is it something? Why
I never voted.
you've never voted? No.
like with being in the EU, they have to sort of follow the European Union rules, which then doesn't entitle them to make up their own rules. I think that
I
I think it's like safeguards like people with disabilities and needs. Like it safeguards them a little bit because like our government can't do anything unless they relay it back to them, and like because it's like the whole of European Union, they have to give the thumbs up before they can change anything like that. So
Okay. So you would prefer to stay in?
I'd prefer to stay in, but at the same things, I've got my thoughts of leaving the European Union.
Yeah. No, it's certainly
I'm a bit of a middleman at the moment.
For some, the European Union represents a community which provides advantages such as freedom of movement and secures their human rights. Others are unhappy about the amount of money which the UK contributes to the EU. For voters such as Stuart, this is felt against a backdrop of cuts to services that he relies on. The European Union and the referendum are complicated topics. This was felt by some of the voters I talked to, who admitted to finding it difficult to make sense of the debate. It does seem clear that more must be done by politicians and campaigners to make democracy more inclusive. Despite these shortcomings, the EU referendum has energised and inspired many voters. It remains to be seen how the outcome will affect the many people in the UK who have a learning disability. It can only be hoped that the rights, needs and aspirations of people with disabilities are respected and improved upon. This must happen whatever the result on the 23rd of June.